Uh, First things first. Cardi B's civil assault trial comes to an end. Now I kind of touched on that the end of last week, and court was recessed for the long Labor Day weekend. So yesterday they were back on, and it was pretty much for follow. So Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025, closing arguments were delivered in the civil assault trial against rapper Cardi B at the Los Angeles County Circuit Court. The lawsuit was filed by Imani Ellis, a former security guard who claimed that Cardi assaulted her in a Beverly Hills medical building in 2018. And the day had concluded with the jury going to deliberation, which we'll get into in a minute. Ellis's lawsuit was seeking $25 million and alleged that Cardi B, whose legal name is Belcalis Almanzar, scratched her face with them claws and spat on her and used racial slurs during the argument. So basically, she was making sure she had all of her little civil violations covered. See what I'm saying? Cardi B had maintained in her defense as well that she only had a verbal confrontation with Ellis and never physically touched her. Right? The argument all started, like I was covering before. Cardi was pregnant at the time and went to OBGYN. And I guess the security chick was trying to film her with the phone. You get what I mean? The trial had attracted a lot of public attention due to Cardi's viral testimony.
Did you have black hair, blonde hair, or different color hair?
I quite don't remember. I do know I had a hoodie on.
Okay. Yesterday you had black hair, short hair. Today it's blonde and long. Which one is your real hair? Or are they both real?
They're wigs.
You know what I'm saying? So on this day, like now we all caught up. So Tuesday, September 2nd, which was yesterday, Cardi arrived at the courthouse in Alhambra, California. I used to get water from Alhambra. You know what I'm saying? But the Page Sick crowd or whatever reported her fashion sense and everything like that. She had a new wig, new outfit, you know what I'm saying? Polka dot suit. Before lunch, you know what I mean? They were like, proceedings, like court don't always jump into testimony or closing argument, right? Also, before closing arguments, there's usually instruction given to the jury. Before the closing argument, like informing them that the closing argument is not to be looked at as like evidence or whatever. It's just basically a summary of the evidence presented. Right. The plaintiff's closing argument, or in the plaintiff's closing argument, Ellis argued that, Ellis's attorney argued that his client suffered great mental, physical, and nervous suffering, right? And that she lost her future career aspiration due to this incident, and claimed that her ambitions, such as joining the FBI or police, were cut off because of the trauma she sustained. Get the fuck out of here. First of all right, let's just say that's the argument, right? You wanted to be with the FBI and the police department or whatever, and you're working in Los Angeles, so I'm assuming LAPD. if you can't handle the altercation that transpired in that medical building, even if it resulted in the physical altercation or whatever that you claim in your lawsuit, my nigga, ain't no, like, if you can't handle that, you damn sure can't handle no FBI shit. You damn sure can't handle being part of no LAPD division. You're not even fit to work traffic detail if that should have stressed you up. And then if you don't know how to compose yourself when you see a celebrity and not whip your phone out and stay in your professional setting or whatever and shit, you wasn't cut out for that shit no way. That's crazy. The lawyer emphasized the profound psychological impact of 2018 confrontation. And how Ellis's mother, Leanne Smith, had previously testified that her daughter exhibited significant anxiety and depression following the altercation. I mean, if she did, it was probably for getting trolled on the internet for filing a frivolous-ass lawsuit. Ellis's attorney challenged the testimony of Tierra Malcolm, a doctor's secretary in the building, who said that she saw Ellis cornering Cardi B. You know what I'm saying? The plaintiffs, Ellis's counsel also argued that Malcolm's account did not cover the first 40 to 50 seconds of the altercation, which is when the alleged spitting and physical attack, you know, and berating occurred. Now, to be fair, the average street fight lasts about 31 seconds, right? But like Cardi is like pregnant, so she said, you know, she being super cautious or whatever. She don't know what's gonna happen or whatever. And clearly, she's going to get checked and all this, right? So she might have been about 3 months, I think I remember from the testimony. You know what I'm saying? But if the secretary is probably in the reception area, which is probably where the security is, because before you'll probably have to get to security before you get to the reception. I don't know how the building is actually like laid out. You know what I'm saying? The attorney also, you know, he just maintained that the cuts on Shorty's face, Imani Ellis, could have only came from the confrontation of Cardi B. Like, yo, I ain't gonna lie to you, like, this dude, like, she must have just got whoever would take the case, and it was more than likely on the contingency. So he was hoping that he win this shit and get a big ass payday or whatever, or at least something. You know what I'm saying? The plaintiff's attorney criticized Cardi B's use of profanity during her testimony, calling it disrespectful to the court. He stated that this is a court of law and you cannot speak that way in court. I've never seen this before. Based on your courtroom performance, it seems like you haven't seen a lot of courtroom time at all. Who let him out of the back room? You know what I'm saying? Like, because even the way he was questioning her when he was cross-examining Cardi, you know, it seemed like he was just going more so for a viral moment than a win for his client, and it really just ended up in a bunch of, you know, the defense's objections being sustained rather than overruled. She did overrule a couple of, you know. So yeah, and then from what I was gathering from when she did curse on the stand, she was basically quoting what she said in like during the altercation. So yeah, a lot of reaching on this thing. You know what I mean? Since there was no video evidence of critical moments in the altercation, or the assault rather, Ellis's lawyer appealed to the jury to believe his client and asked the jurors to choose between trusting Ellis, who he described as a model citizen with a good record, or Cardi B, I guess, rapper, former stripper, and whatever. All right. The lawyer pointed to Cardi B's admission of being chest to chest with Ellis during the heated verbal exchange, and he argued that this constituted unwelcome touch and thus battery. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of whether like a physical scratch occurred. So now you're telling them to believe your client about the scratch because there's no physical evidence to prove that she was scratched. All right. Then now you're saying even if a scratch didn't occur. So did the scratch happen? Did the scratch not happen? And then chest to chest or whatever and shit like that. Well, that's mutual. Like you would have to be running from somebody and somebody running up on you, whatever. Meanwhile, the person who works with the security lady and see her every day is saying that she cornered Cardi into a corner. Now, like I said, Ellis originally filed for $24 million in damages. Her lawyer asked the jury to award her hundreds of thousands of dollars to compensate for the pain and suffering and lost wages and medical expenses, so on and so forth. This request framed the case as a matter of holding Cardi accountable, I guess, rather than just it being a money grab. But that's how these lawsuits work, though. You shoot for this super astronomical number, hoping that, well, maybe if I like aim for the stars, I'll at least land on the moon. You understand what I'm saying? Now, in the defense closing, Cardi B defense team challenges Ellis's accounts of the events, with Cardi's doctor testifying that he did not see her injure, like he didn't see her injure Ellis. And the doctor called the incident an epic yelling match, meaning that like outside of them being chest to chest, nothing happened outside of it. You know what I mean? Ellis claimed that the scratch from Cardi B's fingernail was on her cheek. However, the defense referenced Ellis' earlier incident report and emails in which she referred to the injury being on her nose. So that's an inconsistency, and that's why your lawyer is sitting here saying, oh, well, even if the scratch didn't occur, they were chest to chest, titty to titty. Still unwanted touching. The defense highlighted that Ellis had taken a nap after the incident and did not immediately put a Band-Aid or treat the supposed injury. And this was presented as behavior that was inconsistent with someone who had, been severely traumatized and attacked. Right. While Ellis later claimed that she sought medical treatment and plastic surgery. The defense questioned why the initial medical report did not mention any scratches or blows to the face and or head, for that matter. And the defense also pointed out that reports of those specific injuries only emerged later in the context of the lawsuit, like not initially after the situation happened. Because if you were that hurt, if she was that hurt, that traumatized, no way you stay there for the rest of the day. And then, you know, you would have went to the hospital and got that damn cut treated if it was as bad as you said. The defense attorney also suggested that the scar could have came as a result from one of Ellis's prior car accidents, because she was in a car accident in both 2001 and 2003. So they saying, like, you know, it could have came from the car accidents rather than the 2018 confrontation with Cardi, especially since you were so late on going to get your thing. And he also brought up how Dr. James E. Rosenberg, a psychiatrist for the defense, testified that Ellis's claims of emotional distress seemed exaggerated, and noted that her psychological test scores were extraordinarily high in a manner inconsistent with genuine disorders like PTSD, suggesting fabrication or just exaggeration of the symptom. Now, the psychiatrist also noted the significant inconsistencies that Cardi's defense team pointed out about how Ellis described her trauma history during her interview versus her deposition. Rosenberg even stated that Ellis's extensive travel and ability to find new employment after losing her security job contradicted the whole claims about debilitating psychological symptoms and all of this extra shit. Cardi's defense further emphasized the lack of physical evidence supporting the claim of assault. This was further corroborated by eyewitness testimony from Cardi doctor, who I just mentioned, called the joint like epic yelling match, and did not see any scratches or physical contact. Now, while Ellis lawsuit accused Cardi B and others of conspiring to erase all video footage of the incident, the defense team stated that they could not find any evidence of surveillance video which countered the plaintiff's claim. So that was the closing argument. And after that, they went on lunch break. Cardi B walked out of the courthouse signing autographs for fans. But then she was actually confronted by a male social media creator or personality, whatever you want to call him. And he questioned her about the relationship between her estranged husband, Offset, Migos, and commented about football player Stephon Diggs. You know what I mean? Cardi actually threw a marker at this nigga and yelled at him for being disrespectful and asking inappropriate questions. Now, that's hella interesting or whatever, that you're basically in a civil trial for assault, and you outside the courtroom when somebody asks you a question and you throw a marker at the nigga. Like, this shit is bugged out. Late afternoon, the second portion of the jury charge took place. You know what I'm saying? Before they sent them off to deliberate. And that pretty much how it ended, right? Now, after a week-long trial, that same jury came back and found Cardi B was not liable for the assault and battery in the lawsuit brought against her by the former security guard, Imani Ellis. And they only deliberated for less than an hour. So they didn't even take the whole hour, less than an hour. before reaching a unanimous verdict in Cardi B's favor. Although only 9 out of the 12 jurors were required to agree, you know, in the civil case. It's not like how the criminal cases be. And yeah, their decision was unanimous. The verdict, you know, meant that the jury rejected her claims of the lawsuit, battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligence. You know what I mean? Like, so all of those against Cardi B, like, she was found not liable. When the jury announced the verdict, Cardi B made, you know, the Christian sign of the cross, you know, against her body, and softly hit one of these. You know what I mean? As each juror confirmed the unanimous decision, you know, she was just basically clapping her hands together, you know what I mean, appearing to be, I don't know, I guess it's relief and celebration all at the same time. You know, court is still in session, so you can't wig out in there. You know what I mean? Outside of the courthouse speaking to reporters, Cardi B maintained claims of innocence and stated that,
I'm not even playing around. I would, even if I'm in my deathbed, I swear to God, I will say it in my deathbed. I did not touch that woman. I did not touch that girl. I didn't lay my hands on that girl.
Cardi B called the lawsuit frivolous and said that it was an example of people's misconception that celebrities will settle rather than fight in court. And she warned anyone that might try to sue her in the future.
And with that being said, this time around, I'm going to be nice. The next person to try to do a frivolous lawsuit against me, I'm going to countersue, and I'm going to make you pay, because this is not okay. I think people have like this misinterpretations of celebrities, like it's like, oh, well, we can ask for this and they're going to settle. You don't work at home, and you don't work all day, and you don't work for your money to give out your money. Mm-hmm. So don't ever think that I'm just going to give you my money that I work hard for. I don't lay in bed all day. I work all day, and I work hard for my money, for my kids, and for people I take care of. So don't you ever think that you're going to sue me and I'm just going to settle and just give me my money. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, pop your shit, Miss Cardi. All right. Cardi B thanked her lawyers, the jurors, and her supporters. She also expressed frustration about the timing of the trial, mentioning that she missed her children's first day of school. Oh, that's crazy. Like, not a tour, not nothing, but a bullshit ass lawsuit that wasn't about shit anyway. In a press conference, she asked her fans not to troll or attack Imani Ellis or her family on social media, and emphasized her desire just to, you know, move on from the situation. So, yeah, man, shout out to Cardi, man. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's up. A lot of frivolous lawsuits and everything like that. You know, it's a lot of Tony Busbys out here. You dig? Hold on a second. But yeah, man. Shout out to Cardi. Congratulations again. I'm wondering who the social media nigga she threw the market at was. Was it Poetic Flacco? I'm gonna find out. We're gonna get in. We're gonna figure that out tomorrow.